just, you know, a book, you know, of this, that, and the other, then it's going to be of no benefit. You have to go with an open mind, and when you go with an open mind, just like a cup, like this cup here, if the cup is face up, then you can put water in it. If it's upside down, then there's no water going to get inside. So the same concept applies, that you have to keep an open mind, and certainly these are only just few of the signs. We looking for Abdul Malik is a list of signs there, and I certainly have got a few more if we can have time to mention.
Anything else of interest?
Yeah, well, part of this scientific miracles, I thought we can bring up the fingerprints, which was mentioned in the Quran.
Fingerprints are mentioned in the Quran?
Yeah, it's already there in the Quran, 1420 plus years. Quran
this now?
That's in Surah Al-Qiyamah, where you know, human being is denying the re-existence of the human, or that, you know, we deny the day of the judgment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking, لا أقسم بيوم القيامة ولا أقسم بالنفس اللوامة أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه. Do humans think that we cannot regather their bones after they become, you know, mixed with the soil and dust? بلى قادرين على أن نسوي بنانه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, no, but he is even able to restructure his fingerprints, you know.
Oh, wow.
No, banan mean the
tips of the fingers, yeah.
Which is the most complicated, you know, the creation in the human body.
Uniquely individual.
Uniquely individual, and two cannot be similar.
This is one of the disbelieving Arabs came to the Prophet ﷺ with this moldy bone, and he said, "You're saying that God's going to bring this to life again, you know?"
Yeah, so I mean, going back to this ayah, this was the custom from the time of the, you know, Sahaba till, you know, recent time. Even in those countries where the technology did not exist today, they have finger.
Yeah.
And for those they cannot sign on their passport, you know, what they do, finger.
Oh, the thumbprint.
Thumbprint.
You have a word for it in Urdu, don't you, about this thumbprint?
Yeah, so thumbprint, you know.
Some of the big businessmen actually are thumbprint.
You see that why they do that? Because two cannot be similar, and then this is mentioned in the Quran that, you know, so this is a clear proof that, you know, subhanAllah, you know, the question is that could Arab in the, you know, 7th century have known this one?
And known so many, maybe one of them, maybe he could have known one of it, but to know all this.
And to top it all off, he was illiterate, he couldn't read or write. You know, the chances of this is beyond, I think, it's beyond reason, you know, it's impossible really.
He never travelled to those places where they had libraries like, you know, Rome and Persia and so forth.
So the question always lies, where did he get his information from? So that's the next
And the Prophet ﷺ started from the very beginning of his prophethood saying that what he was speaking was not from himself but from Rabbil Alameen, from the Lord of the worlds. And it stayed the same. He never wavered in that assertion from the beginning of prophethood until his death.
Yeah, and Allah even challenges, the challenge was for the Arabs at that time who were, you know, as we said, reached the heights and excellence in areas such as poetry and literature and so on and so forth. And Allah, he challenged those. He says, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي غَيْبٍ مِمَّا نَزَّلْنَا عَلَى عَبْدِنَا فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِثْلِهِ. Come, if you're in doubt about this book, come with something like a chapter like it, if you are indeed truthful. And certainly they were battling to do something. They used to spend their time in competition. They used to, clans and tribes used to visit each other in competition, see who could be most eloquent. And certainly that was the best time for that challenge to, you know, to, if you like, to be taken up. And it was not, they were not able to do that. And
but to speak of today.
To speak of today, then it's, you know, highly improbable. I think even some other miracles regarding the mountains and things like that.
Yeah, before we go to mountains, probably I'll just quote the same ayah that you mentioned from Surah Al-Baqarah, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ مِمَّا نَزَّلْنَا. At the end of the same ayah, Quran refers to the very same ayah. It says, فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا وَلَنْ تَفْعَلُوا. If you didn't do it so far, you will never do it. The Arabic terminology, for those that understand the Arabic, you know, they're watching us right now. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا. When lam enters on the, you know, future tense, you know, you know, you didn't do it, so you will never do it. Lan. It means it's impossible.
Final.
It's final, you know, so you can do it. And then for challenging, you know, to challenge someone, and there are certain rules in the Quran, for example, in the Islamic Sharia. You don't challenge someone to come into boxing ring and he's disabled, he got no hands, you know. You challenge someone who is very, you know, good.
Has the tools.
Yeah, they got the tools and skills. So Quran challenged these Arabs, while, as you mentioned, that they were expert, they were competing. That's why there is a book is called Al-Mu'allaqat al-Sab'a. these Malaqat Saba, these 7 first place, you know, like, you know, 7 places, like, you know, first, second, up to 7, those that are placing the, you know, winning these awards, their poetry will be hanged inside of the Kaaba. This was the Arabic custom in the, at the time of the Quran, you know. So Quran came and challenged these people. The
best of the best.
Yeah, the best of the best. So, the part of the you know, the challenge of the Quran is that you don't challenge people in that though they cannot respond to you. So that was another appropriate, you know, challenge from the Quran, to challenge, and not to challenge to create a book like this one. Challenge it in 3 different ways. Could you create one ayah, one verse, you know, or a chapter, or the entire book like this one? And of course they didn't.
And as you said, they never will.
They never.
Yeah, as I say, it goes back to the tone again. You know, who could say that? You know, I've never seen a human, even the most cocky and arrogant of human beings, they would never write something, you know, as you know, as poignant as that. That's quite amazing. The issue regarding mountains as well, Allah says that He has set firm the mountains on the earth so it will not shake it. Certainly when investigations show, and geology and those experts in those fields, that certainly it's the mountains that keep the earth firm and steady. And further investigations into that show that actually these verses are actually correlate very well with modern science.
Because the mountains go down. What we see of the mountains is not all. They have roots, don't they? Like
that can even go further down than the actual height of the mountain itself. So I think that's, you know, I don't think that the Prophet Muhammad at the time in the 7th century was digging up mountains and checking, you know, the roots of those mountains.
That's true.
And certainly, you know,
nor was anyone.
Yeah, there's some excellent books as well that have got excellent diagrams, and don't go into too much detail, but at the same time give you what's sufficient. And certainly those verses do show that these are quite amazing. Amazing verses.
Yeah, Quran refers to that as a nail on the, you know, the earth. So you, as if
like
you're
a peg,
like a peg, tin peg, yeah. So these are all jibala utada, you know.
Yeah.
So in these mountains refers to that, you know, that is stabilizing the, you know, the world for us. Also, we can mention this one, Youcef, that, you know, we are living in our atmosphere is the 7 layers, you know, and the 7 levels, that which was discovered probably very, very late, you know, and Quran's refer to that samawat as-sab'a.
7 skies, isn't it?
7 skies, 7 heads. But when Quran refers to that, wal aradin as-sab'a, you know, or, you know, the 7, you know, the earth, you know, because the human can have access to the to the earth, but not to the skies more than the, you know, we cannot go above or beyond the first sky. So as I mentioned earlier, that, and then Quran is always talking about that, you know, that for example the oceans, you know, itself, you know, that there's a different miracle that the ground is, you know, laying down, you know, under the ground there is the water, for example, always, and then within the water there is petrol, for example, and there is gas in it, for example. So these are all the miracles that, you know, we can bring it up, that it's mentioned in the Quran.
So, yeah, certainly, you know, Allah, He asks us to observe the creation. He asks us to think and contemplate. Look at the skies. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. From His signs are the creation of the heavens and the earth. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُم. And the difference in your languages and your races. Look at the signs, they're there to see. Look at the birds, how they're kept afloat. They're not signs, you know, as we said, we went into some detail in regard to embryology and cosmology, but some are very, very basic in terms of
just
you know,
observations.
Yeah, and just look around you, everything you see. Do you see the skies being held up by pillars? You know, those sort of questions, and Allah is always asking you, do you not believe? Do you not
look at your food?
Quran? Do you not contemplate the Quran? Do you not think about what we're saying here? Are we coming with something else? Surely if it came from other than the Creator, you would find many inconsistencies and discrepancies.
Inconsistency, exactly.
Yeah. So certainly,